Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we've got exciting news. The lovely folks over at TotalCards.net have brought us news of a Melmetal GX box. This has been given out in a press release today. Information has been given. So I thought, well, first of all, we need to look at this box and what's in it. And then, of course, since we know Melmetal GX is coming, it would be rude if we didn't at least have a little bit of a gander at what it's probably going to do. So, according to the press release, what an amazing discovery. The newly discovered mythical Pokemon Meltan and Melmetal are stepping into the spotlight in the new Melmetal GX box with foil cards of these astonishing metal-type Pokemon and all the power of a Pokemon GX. Plus tear into 4 Pokemon TCG booster packs to expand your collection. So what we get is 1 foil promo card featuring Melmetal GX, 1 foil promo featuring Meltan, 1 oversized promo featuring Melmetal GX, 4 boosters, and a code card. So this is very, very much like the Beware box. We've had a bunch of these boxes. They're often used as a way to give out promo GXs. And once again, it is being used as a way to give out promo GXs. Now, in terms of which boosters we're going to get, these are sometimes used to, let's say, give out boosters that some competitive players aren't going to love. But you can't have it all, ladies and gentlemen. Like, for instance, the Beware one, we had a couple of Guardians Rising. Yay! A Sun and Moon, alright, and a Breakpoint. Yeah. So, hey-ho, the thing is, right, if this is a playable card, people are going to love this, and if it's not a playable card, people aren't. Do remember, of course, that Melmetal is a Stage 1 Pokemon, so it is a mythical Pokemon, the only evolving mythical Pokemon, so we will need Meltan as well. Now, I have done videos of both Meltan and Melmetal in terms of when they were revealed, etc., so I will pop links to those videos in the description so you can have yourselves a little bit of a gander. I have been musing about how they would use him and how they would introduce him, because Zera Aura was brought in literally in the most recent set, Lost Thunder, but Lost Thunder is our set that's just come out in November. We know that Meltan and Melmetal are not going to be in our February set team-up, which means that it would be our May set. May 2019 would be the first opportunity to get him, I suppose, into a proper set. So I didn't know how they were going to go about it. And really here, this is the best way to do it. It is the best way to go about it. Stick it into its own promo pack. They don't usually bring in these mythical and legendary Pokemons as promos. Marshadow, for instance, was brought in as part of Burning Shadows. That makes perfect sense. But we didn't have a set ready. There's nothing Melmetal could really have been coming into. Now, apparently, according to the lovely folks at TotalCards.net, it is going to be released on the 15th of February. So you got to wait like 3 months, but it's not exactly the longest wait ever. And that's pretty much all we know for certain. We know we're getting Melmetal GX, we know it's going to evolve, we know it's coming out on February the 15th. Now, as I tend to do when we have a card that we know is coming but we have no artwork, I got in touch with the lovely Hitmon over on Twitter, and he drew us up this little mock-up you see on the screen here. Once again, huge shout out to that dude who is really good at this. Now, we know very, very little. We know it's going to be a metal type, which is quite nice. So we know that even if it's got a high attack cost, and it may well do so, because, you know, a lot of the big metal Pokemon do, take Duskmane Necrozma, for instance, we're going to have Magnezone, we're going to have Solgaleo Prism Star, so we're going to have ways to accelerate energy, which is quite nice. We're going to have Mount Coronet we can use to recover energy. There's no Prism Star Stadium yet. I'm sure we'll get one. We know it's going to be a Stage 1. That has been confirmed in the press release, and we know that Meltan's a Stage 1. And this really intrigues me, because we've never had a Stage 1 mythical Pokemon. We've had plenty of mythical Pokemon in the past that have been pretty gosh darn good. I mean, Marshadow earlier, okay, yes, I'll grant you that it's got very low HP, but it's got a really nice ability. Now, this makes it awkward, because we don't actually have anything to go on. So the other day, we looked at the fact that we know, well, we're 99% sure that we are getting a Magikarp and Wailord Tag Team GX. So what I could do was I could have a look at previous Wailord cards and go, right, it's going to have giant HP, and I could look at previous Magikarp cards and go, it's probably going to have a flail type attack. We could make a very sensible suggestion of what it's probably going to do based on the cards from which it is based. But we don't have any previous Melmetal cards. We know very, very little about it. Not only that, but we don't actually know what its stats are. We don't know if it's a high defense Pokemon. We don't know if it's a fast Pokemon. I would guess it's not going to be. Judging by the fact that it's a big hulking piece of metal, I think, and the fact that it's very, very heavy, I think it's fair to assume it's going to have a high retreat cost. Because big, fat, bulky, heavy Pokemon, Wailord, tend to have high retreat costs. But similarly, I think it's going to have very high HP. So in terms of Stage 1 GXs at the moment, generally speaking, they end up with like 200 like Lycanroc or 210 like Zoroark. Well, on the one that we had mocked up by the lovely Hitmonlee, I asked him to pop 220 HP on there, because I think it's going to have a higher than average HP. I think it's going to have a very bulky HP. And again, we can presume it's going to have a weakness to fire, which is likely to be kind of good unless Flareon GX, link in the description, turns out as good as I think it's going to. I think the Flareon is going to be a phenomenal Pokemon, plus it's also a Stage 1, but it's got the Energy Evolution Eevee, kind of giving it a turn head start. So I do think that the weakness to fire, fine in theory, but we will have the Evolution GX boxes by then, which means Flareon could be an issue for it. And we can presume it's going to have a resistance to Psychic, so with a high HP and resistance to Psychic, something like Garboda's going to do very, very little. In terms of attacks, the interesting question for me is how it goes up against Duskmane Necrozma. At the moment, Duskmane Necrozma is my kind of go-to Metal GX for attacking. It's a phenomenal attacker. It does a huge amount of damage, but it's extremely expensive. So the GX attack does 250 for free energy, but only if you're behind on prizes, and the main attack does 220 for 4 energy and discard 3 of them. And although some people have had some success, I mean, I got 2 consecutive top 4s at League Cups in the same weekend with it. It's a good card. You have to play it with Solgaleo Prism Star, which is awkward, or you have to play it along with Magnezone, which is inherently inconsistent because it's a Stage 2. I am so excited for this, and I really wish I could give you a better prediction as to what it does. I feel confident it will have high HP. I feel confident it will have a high retreat cost, a weakness to fire, a resistance to Psychic, and big attacks. But I really want to know how it's going to work with Meltan, because the whole point of Meltan is that they pull together to make a Melmetal. So I would love to see some kind of mechanic where you could essentially attach Meltan to it to do extra damage. So think like Wishy-Washy. We've got Wishy-Washy GX, which is alright, but then we've got the Wishy-Washy from Dragon Majesty, which essentially boosts your Wishy-Washy GX. And that's where you've got Wishy-Washy schooling together to make essentially big Wishy-Washy. Well, that's almost exactly what happens with Meltan and Melmetal. Like, exactly. So I'm really looking for Meltan here to have some kind of ability to boost up Melmetal in the same way that Wishy-Washy has an ability that boosts up Wishy-Washy GX. As with all of this, it's a fairly obvious thing to say, but we will have to wait and see. But I have high hopes. This is a new Pokemon making its debut in its own promotional box. You've got to think that the designers of this are going to go all out to give us a really good Pokemon. Plus, it's a Stage 1, so it's going to have to be better than Basics, or else, well, it ain't going to see play. Again, at the risk of sounding a bit obvious. So I'm calling it now. Meltan is going to have some kind of ability that helps it out. like the wishy-washies. But I want to know what you think. Tell me if you're excited about Melmetal making its debut. Tell me if you think it's going to be good. Go nuts in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. But please do remember the rule. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, make some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays for some more Wassy action. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.